Okay, Dana Abercrombie, The Coalition. Thank you so much for doing this and welcome back to the franchise. I was wondering, it's been so long since we've seen the first one. So, what is it for you that you found that was so appealing either in the script or just your character itself returning?
Are you talking to me?
To both.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, because it's very crackly. Is everyone else hearing that? That's weird.
A little
sound?
bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
I'll go ahead and I'll answer for me returning.
Yeah.
It was just so exciting because to think that after 40 plus years that I could be reviving my character of Lindsay was so exciting, and to come back and work with Jamie Lee Curtis and get to work with David Gordon Green and Anthony Michael Hall and all these new people as well was just so exciting. And going back to my roots of acting is just a thrill. Oh, I thought that was for Anthony was going to answer. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the first one I'm in, so I'm just happy to be here. I'm glad to be working. I'm really honestly, I've never been this jazzed about anything. The only franchise I've been a part of was the Batman, Dark Knight, and I had a kind of a small role in that. But I've never been more pumped up about anything I've ever been a part of. And what I think makes it really special for all of us, I think it's kind of unanimous that we all feel so great about the film. It packs a punch. It's really a thrill ride. It's like a freight train. It's all of that, and most importantly, the audience, that this is a movie really made for the fans of the franchise. So I think audiences will flip out, and I'm really excited to, like all of us, all my coworkers, to really unleash the film on the world. It's going to be really fun.
Hi, yes, Dave Dreher, Gruesome Magazine. Anthony, curious as to how you went about creating an adult version of this character that you didn't play as a child. Did you find any challenges with that? Did you go back and watch the original? Did you kind of create your own version of what you thought?
Yeah, I kind of all the above, Dave. I was really very happy when this came about. I had a meeting with David Gordon Green, and then I took, I did my screen test 2.5 years ago, whatever it was. And I was just so grateful that they welcomed me into this franchise. In terms of creating the character, I love that it's kind of a heroic character. He's willing to fight with his fellow neighbors in the town of Haddonfield to really rise up against Myers. And I think that there's a really interesting and cool, unique turn that we all make, that we go from, the opening sequence where people are sort of commiserating about being survivors and victims of Myers and what they've gone through for 40 years. But then they all really summon something really deep in themselves and decide to fight back. And they're not just, survivors, but fighters, and I think that that's a really cool turn in this classic kind of good versus evil theme. We have Laurie and Judy and Andy are back, and, it's good versus evil, the Strodes versus Myers. And in this case, the whole town, we really kind of rise up. So that was a lot of fun to play with. And I think I speak only for myself, but there was plenty there to work with in the screenplay. It was really a great, great screenplay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, my name is Riley Farrell. I'm a reporter at Columbia University's Pulitzer School. It's a beyond honor to chat with y'all. Thanks for taking the time. My question's for Kyle. As you're aware, the 1978 Halloween pioneered many slasher tropes, not the least of which being the children in danger with the babysitter trope. So with that 1970s story in the lens of modern actresses like you, how did Halloween Kills adapt, subvert, or even keep the original tropes that the story developed?
Well, I think by having my character there, with Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of like kept at least the continuity. She was my babysitter. Well, she ended up being my babysitter in the original Halloween, and here we are, together all of these years later. So that we covered the babysitting aspect, but just having part of the original cast, I think is, bringing that back was amazing. And David Gordon Green, directing all of us and bringing the new characters together, merging to make this amazing film. I think that's, was really, really a creative way to continue the franchise, and having us take on Michael Myers, instead of being afraid and running from him, which is what we have always done, is, facing him head on. I really like that twist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Grant Hermans here from Screen Rant. I had an absolute blast with this movie, first and foremost. But my question's for Anthony. I mean, you mentioned that it was fun getting to dive into this iconic character, but I'm curious, was there ever any sense of intimidation going into the role, given that there have been multiple incarnations of Tommy over the years?
You know what? I honestly, with the exception of the original film, which I loved as a kid, I was about 11 or 12 when it came out, Grant. I just kind of went my own direction, and I really just followed the guidelines and the clues laid out for us by Danny and David and Scott with their screenplays. So really the stakes were high. It's this classic good versus evil, Strode versus Myers, and there's so many great actors and such a great crew that they've been with for so long. It was just a real nice family atmosphere. So on set, it was just very natural just to go about the work and attack it. And so all those themes are kind of built in. It was plenty to work with, and I had a lot of fun with that. And I think that one of the things I keep saying consistently is like everybody in the town makes this kind of heroic turn, and rises up and changes from being victims or just merely survivors to fighting, like that clip from the film where Jamie Lee gives us our marching orders, So I think that's really cool. Although it's very basic, I think it's very, it's classic, kind of good versus evil. And I did that when I was a part of The Dark Knight, but I had a much smaller role. So this was a real challenge and a real privilege to dig into, a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Gil Mistius here from Looper.com. This question is for Kyle. We were just talking about how it took 40 years for Lindsay Wallace to make a return. I'm just wondering, after the franchise took off, so many sequels spawned and became so popular, were you surprised that it took 40 years for you to return to this character? And how close of an eye did you keep on all the sequels? And did you always have this secret desire to come back and some of the sequels and face off against Michael Myers again?
Yes, I've been waiting 40 years. Can you imagine? I kept up with some of the franchise throughout the years, but not all of them, to be honest. And then when I saw the last one before Halloween Kills, it was so great. And I was at the premiere, and I just looked at the guys on the carpet. I think it was David Gordon Green, and I forgot who else was standing there. And I said, why wasn't I in this movie? Everyone keeps asking me on the red carpet. I'm asking you, why wasn't I in this? So I was really excited to finally be able to reprise my role, because it had come up, a number of times, but it never happened. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Aye.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jack Duran from San Diego Red and Yahoo News. And for instance, it's so nice and super exciting talking to you. And my question is, this movie is about standing up still and facing your fears, right? To put an end to them. So my question is for Anthony. When in your entire life did you feel you were actually being really, really brave?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase the question? What did I feel in my
in your entire life, when do you actually feel you were really, really brave?
I mean, I guess my first thought was, in my career, because even though I was a kid, I kind of just dove right into it. So it was actually before I was conscious of the fear in a way. But it reminds me of something that Kyle said earlier too, when she made the first film. I don't want to speak for her, but she was just learning her lines, doing her thing. But when I look back on my own life, I feel the same way. I started out so young. This is my 45th year in the business, and I'm only 53. So it's kind of surreal that I've given so much of my life to this. But I think probably that, just diving into my career before I even knew I had one, it was like a hobby that became a career, so hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
You too, sir. Yeah.
Hi, Brad from Film School Rejects. This question is for you both. So much of the first film, the rebooted film from 2018, is about reclaiming your power after a traumatic event. And the way that your two characters fight in this film is different than what we saw with Laurie Strode. And it's different from other characters in the mob that surrounds you. And I was wondering if you could just speak to fighting through trauma and how you interpreted the trauma as experienced for your own characters.
Kyle?
Well, for me, when, I wasn't thinking of building my character when I was 8 years old doing this movie, but coming back into this role, I had to look at, you know, who Lindsay is now after, you know, what she has gone through as a child and being raised in this town, who has been terrorized for more than 40 years. And, you know, she's chosen not to leave and stay in Haddonfield with all of these people who are survivors, warriors, and who have bonded through all of this trauma. So, you know, that like I kind of took it from there, from myself, and built from that. And which I really loved about the script, that instead of us all, you know, running, we decided to bond and together and take on Michael Myers and be brave and not allow him to take us down again, like Anthony with the bat.
Right on. I got nothing to add to that. That was perfect. Thank you. What she said.
This is giving me Brady Brunch vibes, this whole lineup here. Here's the story.
Right? No kidding. Hollywood Squares too.